I always had a lot of respect for the Patosai. I'm not saying he was the chosen one or anything like that, but he always seemed to have a very good head on his shoulders. He seemed calm, he seemed intelligent, he seemed educated, which aren't really things that are very common in this community, unfortunately. Um, as far as I know, he doesn't have a criminal record either. So I was very, I guess I still am. I mean, I don't write people off that easy. This was a very disappointing pair of videos to me. Um, Mr. Turner seemed unaware that courthouses could restrict filming. I think it baffled him. He seemed to believe that Turner v. Driver would somehow allow him to film inside of a public building. A lot of people seem to believe that, surprisingly enough. He seemed to think that there needed to be a sign to prevent filming. Not in Texas. I don't think he really, I think that these police officers, okay, could they have just allowed him to film and not made a big deal of it? Absolutely. But if they have a rule that a judge has placed on the building, a judge's order, prohibiting filming within the building, number one, no, it obviously wouldn't apply to the police. Nor would it apply to any security cameras in the building. It would apply to non-members of the protection force, non-members of the security force. It would apply to the public who's entering and using the building. Just like the court can prohibit firearms in a courthouse, and yet the sheriff or whoever is protecting the courthouse will be armed. Similarly with cameras. The court has control over the cameras of the police or the sheriff or whoever is the security of that courthouse. The court does not have control over the random people who walk in and out. So a sheriff's, I'm going to say sheriff, even though these are police, because typically it's sheriffs who provide security for courthouses. But the court has a much easier time, the state has an easier time controlling where audio and video footage of a sheriff go, as opposed to a private citizen who goes in, records, walks out, and then the footage ends up God knows where. And the court doesn't have time to redact juror information or any other sensitive kind of information that they may not wish released. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm still firmly on board with the Fifth Amendment and the administration of justice trumping your First Amendment rights. I am fully on board with that. And I have seen nothing to indicate that that should change. Especially when I see the antics of people like Tucson Police Suck and others who go into courtrooms or courthouses and make general asses of themselves and record willy-nilly, catching bystanders' conversations and information and things like that. So no, there's nothing to indicate that anybody should be allowed to have their First Amendment rights trump anybody else's Fifth Amendment rights and administration of justice. So, Turner v. Driver does not affect filming inside courts. Turner v. Driver held that there is a right to film the police in public, and once again, as I have stated previously, in public means specifically public forums. specifically. If you remember, Turner was on a sidewalk, which is a traditional public forum. You can film the police anywhere that you're allowed to film. If it's a limited forum and you're allowed to film there, then you could film the police there. If you go into a limited forum, let's say there's a concert going on, and they don't allow filming because they don't want their concert recorded because they want people to pay to go and see it, then you can't film the police. Not because it's filming the police, but because you can't film, period, full stop. You can't film in a courthouse unless for some reason either a statute or the judges allow it. Done. And since there is a court in this building, this is de facto a courthouse, and it's done. Now, they gave Mr. Turner a code of criminal procedure. They should have given him, well, it's kind of convoluted in Texas. So, the code of civil procedure, or the rules of civil procedure, I think it's the rules of civil procedure. I'm going to mark that so I can find it again. Rules, yes, it is the rules of civil procedure. I don't want Rule 45, I want Rule 18. See, this is why I marked it, and I'll never find it again. Rule 18C in the Rules of Civil Procedure allow the judge to allow filming in the court under specific circumstances. Now, a trial court may permit broadcasting, televising, recording, or photographing of proceedings in the courtroom only in the following circumstances. There is no similar rule for the Code of Criminal Procedure in Texas. From what I've seen in Texas, in general, the chief judge of whatever courthouse will prohibit filming. And then an individual judge, criminal or civil, may allow filming in the courtroom, provided it isn't distracting, and especially in a criminal case, provided you don't film the jury or various other things. Like I think any bench conferences I don't believe can be filmed. Certain witnesses, maybe all witnesses, may not be filmed. I think the witness has to agree to it. Anyway, long story short is I don't know that the judge actually published his order. You may know that not all orders are actually published. I don't know the legal ramifications of it, but I do know that you could be held in contempt for an order you've never seen. So bear that in mind. Number one, they can trespass you. In Texas, again, it's very simple for trespass. All they have to do is give you notice that you are trespassed. Bam. So they could have arrested him. They actually showed quite a bit of restraint with Mr. Turner, who really should familiarize himself with Texas trespass laws, although his demeanor probably saved him from actually being arrested. It was touch and go. He could have been arrested for trespass because he never left. He went into the entryway, which is still inside that address, and he never left. So there you go. So he could have been arrested for trespass, and he could have been arrested on contempt, assuming that there is an actual court order. But even if there isn't a court order, he could still have been arrested for trespass. So I am a little disappointed with Mr. Turner. And I hope that he ceases to disappoint me, but obviously he owes me nothing. As for everyone else out there, thank you very much for watching, and have a great evening.